10 occurred in 2008 when the Philadelphia Soul won the Arena Bowl. All right, YouTube, Nikki C's back again with another one. A few days ago, I was watching a video from the YouTube channel KeyInDaBuilding. They made a video about the top 10 most heartbreaking Philadelphia sports moments. I watched the video, and I gave my top 10 list in the comment section. And after watching it, it gave me a video idea of my own. So I want to give a shout out to KeyInDaBuilding again for inspiring this video idea. So my video is going to be a spin-off of their video. My video is going to be my list of my top 10 favorite Philadelphia sports triumphs. Anyway, let's get to it. So for this list that I'm doing, my top 10, it's going to be a list of things, my favorites through my lifetime, which is really going to go from the early 2000s to present. Because I wasn't alive during the early years of the 90s. I wasn't alive when the Phillies made the World Series in 93. Yeah, so these are going to be moments that I witnessed in real time going from the early 2000s forward. So anyway, let's get to it. Number 10 occurred in 2008 when the Philadelphia Soul won the Arena Bowl against the San Jose SaberCats. Now, honestly, I did follow arena football a little bit. From say 2004 when the Soul first started as a team until the recession. Honestly, this was right around the time right before I lost interest in arena football, because once the recession hit, they weren't being marketed as much. Kind of forgot about arena football and started to fall off it. But for that brief period of time I did watch, and I did get to see a Philadelphia team win the championship, which you can't beat that. But because this is something that, obviously arena football was something I have some memories of, but I don't really remember that much because I did start to lose. I put this on the lower ends of the list, but it made the list because it was a Philadelphia team winning a championship. And that was one of the first times I ever got to see a Philadelphia team. Now, that was the first time I got to see a Philadelphia team win a championship. So it makes it as my number 10 for that. When the Flyers came back in the 2010 Eastern Conference Finals against the Boston Bruins from the 3-0 deficit. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest. I really don't know much about hockey. I mean, I follow the Flyers, but it was cool, as a Philadelphia sports fan, to see that never give up comeback from the Philly team. Not only that never give up comeback, but to see the Philadelphia Flyers clinch a spot in the Stanley Cup Finals, to see a Philly team make it to the finals. And then again, and the reason I put this at number 9 is because it was a cool moment, but then again, at the same time, don't really know much about hockey, so it doesn't stick with me as well. But I put this over the Philadelphia Soul winning the Arena Football Championship because the NHL is a bigger sporting organization, so it sticks out more, if that makes any sense. Anyhow, the Philadelphia 76ers advanced to the 2001 NBA Finals. You had Allen Iverson. He was the MVP of that season. Allen Iverson was the MVP of the All-Star game. He's the one that carried that Sixers team. And this was one of the payoff of the Sixers, of Allen Iverson's hard work through the entire season paying off. The Sixers, after years of being terrible, that's when I started to get into the Sixers. It was Allen Iverson, that season where he carried them, that got me into following the Philadelphia 76ers. So for that reason alone, I got to put this on this list because this was the year where Allen Iverson, like I said, got me into Sixers basketball. It was his efforts to get them to the finals that kept me coming back for more, if you will. That's my number 8. The comeback miracle in the Meadowlands 2. You remember this game, the Philadelphia Eagles, New York Giants at MetLife Stadium, December 2010. Eagles were down 31-10. They scored 3 unanswered touchdowns in the fourth quarter to tie the game up, which gave us some hope. And then right at the end, final play of regulation, we thought the Giants punter was going to punt it out of bounds, right? Nope, but Deshaun Jackson returns it to the house for a touchdown, gives the Eagles the comeback victory, and gave the Eagles the NFC East for that season. Obviously, it was awesome to see, again, that never give up spirit in a Philadelphia team. When it works in our favor, it's great. And when it works in our favor against a division rival, that makes it even better. When you got Giants fans sending you messages in the game saying, ha, 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 thinking it's over. Eagles come back, you get to say, nah, not yet. But yeah, that was also a fun moment to watch. Brings back fond memories of Michael Vick, Deshaun Jackson, LaShawn McCoy, Andy Reid. That's right, it was a great comment. It was beating the New York Giants. This is number 6. This is going to be one that I consider a top moment looking back on it. In 2014, when the Philadelphia 76ers drafted Joel Embiid. Now, obviously, early on, Joel Embiid struggled to stay healthy, and you remember those early years of Embiid's career when the Sixers, they'd be lucky to get up to 8 wins on a season, especially those first 2 years he was there. Oh, they were terrible years for the Sixers. But looking back on it now, in the long term, Joel Embiid is our team MVP where we stand currently in 2021. He is the guy that has helped us over these past few years become relevant. He's the main reason we are a contender currently. So obviously looking back on it now, I got to give the Sixers props for drafting Joel Embiid because he is the main star of this team and he is the guy that has given us hope for the future. So for that, I consider the Sixers drafting Joel Embiid one of my favorite moments, especially when you look back on the impact it had long term. Number 5, the Jake Elliott 61-yard field goal to win against the New York Giants Week 3 of the 2017 regular season, 27-24. Now, obviously, this was a situation where, again, we beat a division rival in our home stadium, but this is also significant looking back on it. Now, looking back on it, we remember it was really Week 3, which started where we started building momentum toward that Super Bowl run. It was that victory against the Giants when Jake Elliott made that field goal to give us the win at home, which really started to build the momentum because then we built upon that by beating the Chargers, then the Cardinals, and the Panthers, and we continued our winning ways from there all the way into Super Bowl 52. So looking back on it, it was a cool moment. And also, it signified the start of our run to Super Bowl 52. Now, number 4 is one that most people wouldn't consider one of their top 10 Philadelphia triumphs, because most people consider team sports. We don't really think too much about individual sports and associating athletes from Philadelphia with individual sports. But I will for this one. Number 4, in June 2006, at Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City, New Jersey, Philadelphia boxer Bernard the Executioner Hopkins defeated the light heavyweight boxing champion of the world, Antonio Tarver, at 40 years old to win the light heavyweight championship. Now, for those of you that do follow boxing watching this video, you remember during all those years where you either had the Flyers coming up short in the Stanley Cup or the Sixers coming up short against the Lakers or the Eagles always falling short. We had all those years where we couldn't win a championship in a team sport. But in the sport of boxing, an individual sport, we had Bernard Hopkins was the reigning defending middleweight champion of the world. He defended the title successfully 20 times. So for all those years where Philadelphia didn't have a team sport champion, we had an individual sport champion in Bernard Hopkins, which gave us something to be proud of as Philly sports fans for those of us that follow him. But then in 2005, he lost the middleweight title. Jermaine Taylor lost the rematch. And then at 40 years old, he moved up in weight to a new weight class, 15 pounds, to defeat the reigning defending champion in that weight class at an age where most people are considered done as athletes. Bernard Hopkins not only took on a new challenge he never had before in a new weight class, but defeated the champion to become the champion. Number 3, October 29th, 2008, when the Philadelphia Phillies won the World Series. For all those years, we had been waiting for one of our major sports teams in the 4 major sports, the MLB, the NBA, the NHL, and the NFL, to win a championship. We had a drought when it came to the major sports where we didn't have a championship. Unless you were following some of the smaller sports leagues, or unless you followed individual sports, like I gave with Bernard Hopkins in boxing, you didn't really see You didn't see any championships for a while. But then in 2008, that all changed when the Philadelphia Phillies won the World Series. After so many years of the Phillies falling short, of the wild card, you remember the 2000s, there was that stretch at the midpoint where the Phillies, they always were competitive, but they could never quite get in the playoffs. They'd always fall seed short, but they never quite get in. Then finally they got it in 2007, but got beat in the opening round. Then in 2008, they made it in back to the playoffs again, went all the way to the World Series and won the championship for Philadelphia. Right, that was the first time I ever saw a Philadelphia team win a major championship in a major sporting organization. So that definitely sticks with me to this day. The Philadelphia Eagles trashing the Minnesota Vikings 38-7 in their home stadium to win the NFC Championship game and secure a spot in Super Bowl 52. After all those years, we waited, the Eagles falling short, and with the injury to Carson Wentz, when it looked like our season was in jeopardy, Nick Foles stepped in and picked up right where Carson Wentz left off, and this game was a perfect example of that. The Eagles offense looked just as potent as they had the entire season in that game with their backup quarterback, and we proved all the doubters that said we weren't going to make it past the first game wrong. Not only did we do that, but we made it to the Super Bowl. So I'm not even going to they're wasting time. You know what number 1 is. February 4th, 2018. And as of the time I'm recording this, it is around 9:30 p.m. February 4th, 2021. So it's only fitting that I made this video on the 3-year anniversary of that game when the Philadelphia Eagles finally won a Super Bowl. After all those years, all those disappointments, 4 NFC Championship losses, losing in Super Bowl 39, getting beat by the Cowboys 3 times in 2009, 2010 season, falling short against the Packers the following season. All the time, the Chip Kelly saga. After all of that, and for those Eagles fans that remember the 80s and 90s, you remember all the other setbacks. Finally, after all that, we finally had our moment. After making it through the regular season, we lost our starting quarterback. We'd have our backup quarterback step in. Everyone thought we were done. We overcame that to make it to the Super Bowl. Then we had to go to the Super Bowl against a team where our only option to win was to be unstoppable on offense, and that's basically what we did. We counteracted that great Patriots offense with a great offense of our own. It was enough to finally bring the Eagles a Super Bowl. And what also made this moment was so great was, honestly, all the setbacks made this moment better. Because it was one of those things where finally, after years of something we thought would never happen, it happens. And everyone knows when you finally see something that you thought was never going to happen, or something that was in doubt finally happen, it's one of the best feelings you can have. And when it comes as a sports fan, it was definitely the best feeling I had to see something that seemed like it was almost impossible finally happen. That watch this video, thank you for watching. You like this video, give this video a like. The more likes it gets, the more YouTube pushes it out for other YouTubers to enjoy.
Subscribe if you haven't. Hit the notification bell so you know when I upload a new video. And comment, let me know, what are your top 10 favorite Philly sports triumphs? And most of all, to everyone watching, have a wonderful day. Nicky Stee signing off, and I'll see you next time.